you tired of using your floor to lay out your quilts and then stepping all over them? Because that's what happens to me. Well, today on Tuesday with Grace, Sabrina and I are going to show you small and large design boards to help you organize your quilt blocks and putting your blocks together to form your big quilt.
Perfect. So we're going to start with a small design board. I have pre-cut a 14-inch piece of foam board, and then I have here some felt. We've got our hot glue gun, and the first step is going to be hot gluing our felt to our design board. So we're just gonna get some of that on there and lay it out. Perfect, just press it flat. And I like my design boards to be double-sided. So that is what we're gonna do here. And we'll do this here. And then press it flat. So once you have that, you're ready for your binding. We have pre-made some binding, and we've done the triple fold. So you fold it in half first, and then you fold again and again, and then one more time, and you have your binding that's ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is clip off a piece of the edge here. So we've got it. This is just our salvage edge. We'll trim that. And then we're ready to rock and roll. So we'll start on that top edge here, and we're just gonna line it up so that we have it. And we can go all the way around. With it. And then, just like we would on a regular quilt, we are gonna take the time to make it look pretty. So this is a perfect measurement for how wide our binding is. So what we're gonna do is line it up here on the edge. You can see the underneath fabric, and we're gonna line it up on that edge and come in just a little bit to make it a teensy bit shorter. And then we'll trim. So now it's ready. We'll pull this piece out here, and this one going this way, and Angelique is going to sew it for us.
I'm gonna try.
There you go.
You want a diagonal, right?
Yep. Perfect, thank you. So we're gonna trim our 1/4 inch here. And then we'll take it over to our iron, and we're gonna press that flat and then press it open. Oops. Okay. And then we'll just press our seam open here. There we go. And then we're gonna fold it in half just to make sure we have our markings in there, and then fold it at that 1/4 piece there. And then we'll fold it in half one more time to get that all the way finished. Okay. So now that we've got our ironing done, we can now wrap it around our piece. And we'll just trim off our sewing tails from both places. Okay, so what we're gonna do is lay this on here. We want our binding to lay flat, and you want to put your seam, your center fold, right along the edge of your piece here. and just tuck that felt in on the edge. And then it goes right around the corner there. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put hot glue on both directions. And to make things nice and easy, we'll go ahead and clip our board. So that way, as we put our hot glue, we'll be good. And doing it this way, you also get to have pretty mitered corners. So we'll do.
That's a good way to practice your mitered corners.
Yes. So we can miter both corners there and then put our clip in to hold it in place. Put a middle clip in to hold that in place. And we've got another corner to miter. And we'll go right in there and then do the other side as well. It's okay if it falls off a little bit. It'll happen during the process. But we know it's gonna be a perfect fit because we measured ahead of time. So we'll just lay that on there and come to another mitered corner. You know, I feel like anytime I do corners with binding and quilting, there are more than 4 corners. That's always the running joke. Is how many corners do we have? Because it feels like there's more than 4.
Yeah, that moment of, I swear I did this corner already.
Yep. All right, so we'll come around here and voila, our 4th corner. And we'll put that there. So as we go, we're just gonna hot glue this down on both sides. So just right along the edge. Don't burn your fingers. Just press that down and keep going. And we'll put our clips back as we go.
I personally like to drop them on the floor, so I have to pick them up later. It's
a good exercise.
Or fling them this spring.
Fling them across the room. Yeah. Okay. And oops. And you just want that glue to float in the crevice there. And this is just traditional 2.5-inch binding I had left over from another project, so it has laid perfect for this.
Oh, that's great. Now I always save binding, like what I'm going to do with it, but I always find some little project where I can use it.
Yeah.
Mug rug or, yeah.
All those mini projects need to be bound too, so we'll do that and burn our fingers with this hot glue.
That's half the fun of playing with hot glue.
Uh-huh. That really hurt that time.
What I love about this is that you can make them any size you want.
Yes, because the foam boards come as a poster size, and sometimes having a poster size is great, but sometimes you just want something to do an individual block with.
Yeah.
All right, we're coming around the edge here. We're just gonna tack this down. Perfect. Now this side makes it really simple because it's just like when you do a quilt. You've got to tack down the other side of your binding. It's a good thing I brought that extra hot glue stick. There we go. And just pull it taut.
Now how long would you leave it sitting before you would use it?
You can use it immediately.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
You don't have to worry about it. As hot glue dries really fast, so as soon as that glue is dry, you're ready to go, which is the fun part. So it's a quick project just to get you going, and you can practice with your blocks.
It's one of those projects too where if you're in the middle of working on a quilt and you're like, I need something to lay this out on, you can stop working on the quilt really quickly, put this together, and go back to your quilt project.
Exactly. Makes it really simple. And we'll come around this edge.
Well, while you're finishing that up, do you mind if I show them my other trick for making a?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to
They
move
get
that
the
over
gist
there.
of this.
So this was a neat little trick that I learned in a block of the month class that I've been going to every month, and she had a stack of these, and they're probably going to be gifts that I give out for the holidays for my sewing friends. But this is a really simple way, one, to use up leftover batting. I always have pieces of batting that seem just big enough that I feel like I can use them for something, but then when I go to use them, they're not quite the right size, but yet I won't throw them away. So this is really simple and really inexpensive. This is one of those tiles, it's a floor tile that you can get at your hardware store. They come in a pack of 30, they're like $1 or something a tile. So really cheap ones, and they have an adhesive back. So all you do is peel off the adhesive back, you put an old piece of batting on top of it, just cut off the excess batting, and you have a perfect block size for organizing your individual blocks. And that's what I have under here. I have a block that I'm working on from the block of the month because I'm doing my homework. I'm very proud. This will be my first block of the month I actually finish at the time I'm supposed to finish it, opposed to a year later. But I have a couple of them here, and I have them all organized on what I need to sew next. And then as I complete each of those, I get to arrange them out. I can see how my block's gonna come together. And that really helps me because when I take this stack to my sewing machine, I don't forget. If I fold it up on my cutting table and I take it over, then I'm like, oh, I forgot which one I was going to sew. So this helps me. And the other thing I like about this is because they're thin and they stack, they fit perfectly in my box for when I travel. Look at that. So I can stack a whole bunch of those in there, go to my friend's house to quilt, and I'm ready. Everything's, all I gotta do is piece. That's what we like to do, right? So that's another trick, small little ones that you can use for individual blocks.
Perfect. So now we've got our design board. It just lays nice and pretty, and you can lay out different projects on there. This is one I made at an earlier time, and it's just English paper piecing. And these are so much fun to do, the little mini hexagons, and they don't even have the paper in them, so it's perfect. But you can lay it out, take it wherever you want to go, and then take it over to your sewing machine, just like with Angelique's blocks. It makes it really simple to carry your project, and they stay on when you hold it up, so which
That's
is
handy.
Pretty nifty. But the next thing we wanted to show you is our large design board.
Yeah, when now you've got all your blocks, you want to see how they look, and I know that I'm always stepping on mine, so having a vertical board like this is great.
It makes such a big difference, especially if you have the space for it. In my house, I don't have a whole lot of space, so I just have a piece of felt command strip to my wall. But there are people that have wonderful pieces. You can do it with foam insulation and staple it to the back, so then you have a nice felt piece. And the best thing to use is felt because it sticks better than batting. Batting, you'll end up with hairs everywhere and it just makes a mess. But we have here some blocks laid out, and we'll just show you how easy it is.
I think I'll put
that
this.
one goes right.
Oh, you want it here?
Yeah. They just go. It's kind of fun because you just set them on there and they will stick until you pull them off. So.
Now I have one of these. I have this big quilt that I made to hide my sewing mess from my living room area because that's where I have my quilt space. And I've put one of these on the back, on the backing part of my quilt. And so I can lay my stuff on now because it's like a curtain and I move it all the time. I will use pins now and again, but you can use pins on this too. Right? Like in some of the boards, you can use pins sometimes if you want it to stay a little bit longer, or if you're worried about moving it or something like that, or rolling it up to take it with you.
If you have foam insulation, yes, you can stick pins to it. If it's just a piece on the wall, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. So it just kind of depends on how you use or what you use to build your design board.
But there are design boards for all different spaces. Even if you're limited in your space, if you can find just a small wall.
This fabric is so pretty.
It works. This is a honey bun I got. It's probably one of my favorite sets that I've gotten, but I love this one. Since I probably got it 3 years ago,
Oh,
just
wow.
randomly, and I didn't use it until recently because
Oops,
we all
almost
keep
put that
our
one the wrong
fabric
way. And that's
stashed.
the thing, look, if I don't like it, right, it comes right
You
off.
can adjust it.
And you put it back.
But it helps you to be able to visualize your quilt and see what's going on, if you like it, how it goes, and make the changes you want. If you wanted to swap pieces, you can. It just makes it easier to see your full layout without looking at it on the floor where you've walked or the dog or the cat can go across it. It's kind of hard when it's up on a wall for anyone to mess
I could
with
see
it.
a cat climbing it though.
That's true, that's true. Keep it away from the cat towers. But let's see, we'll put the last couple pieces on. It also helps if you have a project where you need directional seams. What I like to do is I'll take a clip and one of my paper piecing hexes, and we'll just pretend like there's one there, but you can put little arrows on a piece of paper or a sticky note and stick it right to it so you know this whole row needs its seams pressed this way, and then I'll stick another clip down to this one. So that way when I'm doing all of my chain piecing and pressing, I know which direction each row goes, and it makes it so much easier.
That is a great tip. I never thought of that. All right, so next week on Tuesdays with Grace, we've shown you how to use a design board, but how do you know what blocks are going to look good to make a quilt? Well, that's what we're going to do next week. We're going to play with some block templates and just let's see where the creativity takes us.